Holy Habits is an adventure in Christian discipleship that takes people on a journey through Luke's cameo portrait of the very first Christian community that we see in Acts chapter 2 and verses 42 to 47. A picture that the great biblical commentator C.K. Barrett argues that Luke offers in order that we might imitate it. So Holy Habits is about a way of being disciples of Jesus, personally and in community. It is about a godly way of living, arguably a godly way of being human. The Holy Habits resources have been developed to help people explore this way of living. There is a series of 11 habit booklets, an introductory guide, and then a booklet for each of the 10 habits that Luke presents in Acts chapter 2, 42 to 47. We encourage people to explore these habits creatively and imaginatively and enthusiastically, with the hope and the prayer that, like those first followers of Jesus, we too might see day by day more people being added to the community of followers of Jesus, more people growing in their discipleship, more people sharing the love of God with a needy world. Discipleship is very much at the forefront of the thinking of all the major Christian denominations at the moment, and is arguably the most important thing for us to resource and engage with, because if our discipleship is not healthy, everything else will struggle as well. Our ultimate aim through offering out the Holy Habits resources is to make new disciples of Jesus and also to deepen the discipleship of those who are already following him. The resources look at all the 10 habits or practices that we see in Acts 2. Each habit booklet has a great range of resources for worship, resources for small groups, materials for all ages, which is an important part of these resources, ideas for community engagement, books to read, films and so on, from which churches and groups and churches can draw to both explore the habits and then, more importantly, live them out in practice. Our initial pilots of the materials have suggested that a 2-year journey through them is probably most helpful. So beginning with a good launch event and then exploring 5 habits over the first year and another 5 habits in the second year. The pace needs to be set locally, but the wisdom we're gleaning from the pilots around the country, including the initial pilot in Birmingham, is that 2 years seems to be most helpful. Holy Habits is different because it offers a range of resources. Over 200 people have contributed to it, from professors of theology to really quite young children, ordained people, lay people from all different Christian traditions. So there's a great variety of material within the resources. And then there is the accompanying encouragement to form a program or a journey locally using the guidance we offer in the introductory guide, but for people to make it their own. Other programs may be a bit more prescriptive. They may be a bit more about acquiring knowledge. This is encouraging people to develop a way of living these timeless godly practices or habits that we see in Acts 2. We were quite deliberate to try and avoid making things over prescriptive, because as Rowan Williams once said, what gets done locally. So the order of the habits, the pace in which they're explored, the way in which they're explored can and all will vary locally. If Kingsley Barrett is right in his analysis of the text that Luke offers in Acts 2, that this is a picture of a way of being church, that we should imitate it, I think that's the strongest encouragement to go and have a look at this. If this is Luke's blueprint for being missional disciples, for being church, then Holy Habits, it's perhaps not surprising that people are finding it encouraging and helpful and fruitful. And Barrett's colleague, James Dunn, another noted professor of theology, said that whenever we see the church being renewed by the Spirit, we see the Acts 2 picture re-emerging. So I'd encourage anybody who would like to see some enthusiastic spiritual renewal, as Dunn calls it, to go and have a look at Holy Habits, because we've not invented something new here. All we've done is studied the text, opened it up, and offered people a way of engaging with it and exploring it that has been fruitful over the centuries ever since Luke first wrote it.